To me, this tribal history project is important in the sense that it's educating not only for our own Indian people, but for the non-Indian communities out there in the state of Montana and the country as well, because there is a lot of misunderstandings about us, stereotypes, or who we really are as a people, as a people that signed treaties with the federal government, nation-to-nation agreements. They call them the Supreme Law of the Land treaties. Some of the efforts that we're trying to do here is we're trying to interview elders, not necessarily specifically old Indian stories that they know, which they know a lot of, but I think we also want to know their own histories, their personal histories, how they grew up, where they were born. Some were born in a log cabin, some were born in a teepee still. How they were born, any of the Indian policy that they encountered, how it affected them, the boarding school period, the reservation times, the Indian Reorganization Act period, termination, all those, and just how it affected them. And I think it's important that the non-Indian community and the Indian community know where we came from, to why do we do things we do, why are we the way we are today, or why do we need a tribal college? Why is it important that a tribal college is based upon its tribal philosophies, language? Why is that? And I think we need to tell people. When I came here to Fort Bellarmine College, part of my job was to search around museums, libraries, or anything having to do with the tribes of Fort Bellarmine, the Gros Ventre and the Assiniboine, and whether it be photographs, field notes of anthropologists, or books, recordings, audio recordings, and even video recordings. I would search around for these things to restore our tribal archives, because our tribal archives was kind of lacking in our own our own literature, or source material, whatever. And so one of the things we found were photographs, at different museums, and we bought these things and in electronic form. Some old audio tapes that we have, we've been able to digitize those, and that's one of the things. And that's when we started off. I started with a small camera, interviewing elders, and even since then, those same elders could be too frail or whatever to interview now. They can't get out of their homes sometimes now, and some have died. And one of the positive things about this tribal history project was we were able to purchase nice equipment, much more quality cameras, audio equipment, computers to make films with, to edit audio with. If only I would have had that, even had that equipment 5 years ago or so. And then you think even further, what if this equipment existed 50 years ago or something like that? I think the tribal colleges are at the forefront of helping restore our tribal culture. So what if, like I said, what if our tribal college was formed 100 years ago or something? I just think how much we'd still have today. We're doing a lot of filming and interviewing, filming the land and things, getting stories, getting their own personal histories as well. And we'll be editing those things and making little mini documentaries. But there's going to be things that are off limits, so to speak. Maybe maybe some ceremonial subject matter, or maybe sometimes the interviewee, the elder, may have not wished to elaborate on what they elaborated on, and they don't want that involved in this. And so I, listen and edit those things, and so not everything is going to be accessible. There's always boundaries, especially with Indian culture, and if you know the history of the acquisition of our history by researchers in the past, and we need those boundaries up to protect ourselves and protect our culture.